Welcome to the Mike Clegg YouTube channel, and today I'm really pleased to invite John.
How you doing?
John Farnworth is a freestyle football player. He's a previous world champion, and he's got this fantastic t-shirt on because he's about to do an amazing world record attempt to go across the Sahara Desert doing keepy-ups. John, just tell us a little bit about your actual challenge, what you're doing.
It's a challenge I've had in mind a while actually. I'm aiming to cross the Sahara Desert,
Wow.
the largest hot desert in the world, so 100 kilometres, hoping to do it in 8 days but keeping the ball in the air the whole time. Obviously we'll sleep at night and we'll have a dinner break, but other than that I'll just be moving throughout the desert.
Oh my god, so let's get that right. So it's going to take you how long?
8 days hopefully.
And how long would it take somebody that was just walking it? Because this is a very common route.
It is, yeah, actually 8 days. So
okay.
I did a similar challenge last year, but I went up Mount Everest.
And say that again?
Yeah, Mount Everest.
Wow,
biggest
so
mountain in the
you
world.
walked up Mount Everest dribbling?
Yeah, doing kick-ups.
Kick-ups, yeah?
Freestyle. Sometimes I had it like, you know, head in a ball, shoulder in a ball.
Yeah.
Mostly on my feet. And it's going to be the same with the Sahara.
So how long did the Everest take you?
That was 8 days too.
Wow.
We went to 6,000 metres. Obviously we didn't go to the summit of Mount Everest. We went to base camp and then a little bit higher, which was a world record. And we got that record, which was pretty cool.
Congratulations, my friend.
Thank you. No, it was certainly my hardest one I've done so far, but I think this will be a little bit harder, to be honest, because the sands are killer, you know. I've been training a lot. I've been preparing for best part of 6 months, to be honest.
You've been training down in the dunes in Livingston, Anne's,
Yes, I have. Yes, I'm not too far from where I live.
Yeah.
Been doing a lot of stuff in the gym. I know we've spoken about training, and I've sort of taken that advice on board with, you know, my eating and all that. But yeah, it's been a real project, to be honest.
Yeah, so we've been talking to John for a while now. My dad actually used to train John himself down at the Cedar Speed Gym in Ashton. And more recently, we've been just talking about his actual, when he's in the Sahara Desert, obviously it's going to be hot, so hydration is something we've been discussing, and how important it is to make sure he gets well hydrated, but also to have the electrolytes in the actual, the drinks themselves. Is that something you really thought about before we spoke?
It actually isn't. No, I mean, I've just been drinking water. One thing I have been doing is like having lemon in the morning for my rehydration, so, you know, setting me up for the day. But yeah, that's something that I'm going to be taking seriously now, because you were like, John, you can't not have those things in your diet.
No, it's really important. Obviously, that's almost like an endurance activity in red hot heat. You know, even normal people walking can suffer through sunstroke or suffer dehydration. You know, so it's quite important that, you know, extremely important that is right. But John, take us back to the start. And when did you first actually touch one of these?
Well, I started playing football at about aged 8 or 9. Yeah. And obviously I love the sport. I was into every sport, to be honest. I was just very out and about active, you know. And then when I got to sort of high school, I started taking notice of players that could do skills and tricks. And, you know, Eric Cantona caught my eye. I remember, you know, watching United, and I remember seeing him once warming up, and he'd kick the ball up really high and control it. And I'd never seen anyone do that before. And another instance was seeing Beckham and Varane warming up and just pinging the ball across. So technical ability always sort of struck me, and I always thought, I want to get to that level. So I started practicing, you know, initially just doing kick-ups.
Well, I just think, so John is obviously a Man United fan. You know, we spoke a lot about these players, and you've actually inspired you to be, first of all, a football player, but then the skills side becomes really important. Yeah. Just show us, for an example, you know, when you're first trying to start learning skills, and maybe you teach a lot of young children now, don't you, skill practice. How do you start with them? How do you get them going, first of all, to have the confidence?
I think for like keeping the ball in the air, it is all about control and just relax, you know. A lot of people, they kick the ball high. So if someone was to come to me and say, how do I start? I'd just do like a kick and a bounce, you know, just like getting used to that. Which it probably looks easier than it is.
Tell you what, let me have it. I mean, I might be able to do this, because I was never renowned for my technical ability, believe me. So was it just a kick? Oh.
That's it, left, right, and a bounce.
I'm thinking that's too high, yeah? So do I need to, so I just keep it a little bit lower?
Lower the better, yeah, but not too low, because when you start to learn tricks, then you kind of need a bit of height. So for example, my first trick was to balance it and then do that. And that, it took me forever to do. Honestly, it took me forever, because, you know, I'd started from scratch. And then I learned, you know, tricks like around the world, pop the world, and then you start like piecing these things together and you start to get quite good. But it all started
I'm not trying that. But see, how many, how were you practicing? Did somebody show you how to do these very basic tricks first of all, or is it something you learned? Because this is quite a new art. It's all, I mean, when I was playing back at football, even when like on the pitch, the training ground, there wasn't that much in the way of freestyle stuff, where now it seems to be like the in thing.
Definitely. I think with the emergence of social media, everyone is aware of it, or most people are aware of it, certainly in football. But for me, like starting out, that wasn't a thing back then, so I just used to do what came to me, like just playing out with my friends, playing on the street. That's where I learned. But I went to a soccer school which taught a lot of futsal methods. The coach was a guy called Simon Clifford, who he wrote a book called Play the Brazilian Way.
Nice.
And when I was 14, I bought his book, and it outlined all these training methods, just things that we kind of know as the norm now, like taps on the ball, side sprints. But there was an element of the book.
Show me a couple of them again for the younger players. I got two boys. One boy is Rafe, he's 9 years old, and the other boy Gabe, he's 5. And these are the little things which would be nice for me to take home. So you can see,
Yeah, like, I mean, starting out, it was like tapping on the ball, but rather than being like that, actually looking up.
Exactly.
And you can't see the ball, or you can see a bit of the ball, but just being aware of the ball. So
using that peripheral vision, getting the feel and the touch.
Exactly, and then, you put that into a game, you don't need to think about the control, because you've got enough decisions to make in a match, haven't you? So it was things like that, and it was like sides, and it was drags back this way, you've got like the little drags behind, drags forward.
Nice, like it.
So all these ground moves, they caught my eye, and I started practicing them, and then it actually led to me getting the ball in the air, counting how many kick-ups I could do, learning my first tricks, and now I sort of blend it all together really.
And I know I've challenged my son to do 50 keep-ups, and he's actually done that recently, so well done Rafe with that, but it takes time and perseverance. And I remember when I first started, I remember going on the backfield and you're doing it for hours, but I loved it because it wasn't about getting a reward from somebody else, it's that feeling when you achieve something yourself, and I bet when you do your stuff, the internal reward is great.
It is. It's a little bit like martial arts, I think, in terms of the discipline. Like, you only get out what you put in. And for me, like, learning that first little trick of balancing the ball and catching it on my neck, that, like, opened another door. Do you know what I mean? And then the next door, and then the next door. And still, like, I wouldn't want to be doing freestyle unless I was progressing. Whether it's doing a record attempt across the Sahara, or whether it's just learning a new trick. Like, I think it's like, sounds a bit cliche, but it's a bit of a way of life, do you know what I mean? Like, you want to progress, you want to push what you do forward, and hopefully in time people will look back and be like, that was inspiring, or it pushes them forward the way I was inspired.
I mean, that's brilliant, but you still got this contrast there, haven't you, where you're still playing proper football, but now the freestyle's become a bit more of your life. At what point do you think, right, football's finished, I'm going to concentrate solely on your actual freestyle? What age was you?
I was 19. I was playing non-league actually. So I actually, when I was 14, I stopped playing football. I stopped enjoying it, and that's what got me into futsal, and the skills took over. But I was actually learning.
Did you ever go to an academy?
No, well, I had trials for Preston North End, which is my local team, but I wasn't good enough. I was like 12, 13, and a bit further down the road, I stopped playing football. Well,
before you stopped, you enjoyed futsal, yeah? You played a little bit of futsal. So tell us about futsal, because that again is another up-and-coming sport, where even at academies now, it's not always about that type of ball, which is light and you can ping it. It's the heavier ball, isn't it? So just tell us a little bit about futsal and how that's influenced.
Oh man, I mean, futsal, as you know, smaller ball, doesn't bounce above the ankle. And the game I played was actually called Football de Salon, which was the game before futsal. So futsal was almost made a bit bigger to pick up on television, and now it's a sport, isn't it?
Exactly,
but Football de Salon was the game from South America, which the Brazilians used to play. So go back in time, talking Pele, Rivellino, they actually played Football de Salon, and a lot of that game is lost now. It's like a bit like history that's kind of been forgotten about because futsal took over.
But they was doing something right back then, weren't they?
They were.
Show us a little bit through what futsal would look like. I know it's not the right ball, but
no, but it's so. For example, I mean, if you were to pass the ball and receive the ball, you would more use the sole of your foot. You would drag the ball. You would we used to train things like we would be quite expressive, so we would like pass the ball, look the other way. We'd flick the ball up. We'd try like rainbow flicks. We'd almost be told a little bit to do whatever.
So freedom of expression.
Exactly.
And sometimes I see in academies it's a little bit do this, do that. Where what you're saying was back then, Pele, yourselves, it's all about free expression, just being, creative, and that ultimately led into your freestyle then.
But the method that I was taught from Simon was that you master the ball the same way you would master a guitar before learning being in a band. You know what I mean? You don't just turn up and be like the O2. It doesn't happen. You know, so that always struck me, like, you master your skill and then you take it on. So it was like, learn the skills, whether it's doing your 50 keep-ups, whether it's doing your toe touches, whatever. That ball should be stuck to you, and then think about your tactical side. And when you harness the playfulness with the structure, because you need structure, of course, like, it's important, isn't it, at the top level. But yeah, I think having a fine balance between the two is, then, you know, it becomes exciting, I think.
So you go into freestyle then, and quite quickly, you become almost an expert in that field. It's quite new. So tell us, you were world champion back in the day, eh?
Yeah, that was my sort of goal, because I was unknown in the sport, and it, you know, it's still very small, but that was my aim. I thought if I can win a world championship, that will not only give me confidence but enable me to do more with it. So I literally, like, I stopped everything in my life. I trained like 10 hours a day, like some day. It was
10 hours a day.
It was silly. Like
football players, they might do 90 minutes or 2 hours a case when they go in the gym, but you was doing 10 hours a day.
I was obsessed. I mean, I still am, but you know, you learn to be smarter with your training. But honestly, like, it was a bit like make or break, because it was, you know, at the time I was living at home, I was very young, and I had this opportunity to be in a competition, and the prize money was quite decent. So I thought, well, you know what, if I win this, it'll allow me to set up my business and, you know, become a bit more professional with what I was doing. And you know, I guess, you know, fortune favours the brave. I just went for it and I won, and later on I won other competitions, and it's kind of given me a career that I'm so grateful for. So.
Awesome. But so back then, I know that it's a few years since then, what type of skills was you doing now then? Because I suppose now you've probably got even better skills, really, but the entire industry has moved on. So show us some of the skills what actually made you win the World Championships, if you can.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it wasn't any particular skill, although I've learned a lot since. It was more because I practiced so much on my consistency.
Yeah.
Because I knew a lot of the other guys had really good tricks, but what they didn't have was, like, putting it together in a nice way.
So is that how you get marked, is it?
Yeah, part of it is, yeah. Okay. So my consistency was key, and my transitions. So it might be transition. Actually, I'll show you.
Sure, yeah.
So you've got, like, a transition, like, from your feet, like, maybe to, whoop, not like that. So maybe you go, like, from here, and then you'd, like, go straight to your neck. Nice. You do, like, tricks on you.
Okay.
You know, and then you'd maybe go, like, down here. So all these things kind of add up, I guess, like, as you get a little bit better.
Nice.
And then, if you can, you stand up. So I guess putting them together.
So that transition from feet to head to lying down to standing up.
Yeah, that was always my thing, and, like, before, people tricks as, like, that's a trick, that's a trick, that's a trick, where I always saw it as, like, one fluid motion.
Yeah.
Some bits faster than others, some stiller than others, but then when it was put together nice, it looked a bit better. So I think that's what helped me in my competing, when I was competing.
So that's brilliant. So after winning the World Championship, I mean, what feeling that must have been? You know, you're a local lad from Preston.
Yeah. The
entire world, you've got Brazilians, you've got Italians, you've got all these people who've got all these almost natural flair. Yeah. And you're, I mean, if I'm thinking about Preston, I used to play against Preston, who's only 6'6", and you'd be going up to Preston on the bus with Man United thinking, oh my God, this is going to be a tough game. Yeah. You got big lads elbowing you and heading you and whacking it away. Yeah. And then there's you.
I know. I don't know. I mean, I think I was lucky, you know, with, well, not lucky, but lucky in the sense of the things that inspired me, like the books that I read, the people I sort of admired. Even outside of freestyle, you know, I always looked beyond, and I think, you know, stepping outside your comfort zone, like going back to Simon, who taught me with his school, he always thought big, and I think when you have people around you that think big, it just becomes your way of thinking, you know.
Well, tell me about that feeling though. What did you feel in the competition you was going to win? Or was it like, oh, I'm not sure whether I won? And then when they said your name, it was like, you know, when I won the Premier League one, it was like an amazing feeling. Yeah. How was it for you?
I couldn't believe it. I mean, I was young at the time, and it was only like 2 days later, I was like, yeah, it sunk in. Because I trained like all those crazy hours, and I just remember ringing my dad, and he was like, how did you get on? And I was like,
where was it at?
It was in Amsterdam, in Holland, and you know, that's one of the big hotbeds of freestyle and street soccer. And yeah, my dad was like, what, you won? Like, I was like, yeah, I won, and I don't know what to say. Like,
world champion, man.
And then it gave me a lot of confidence, you know, in my ability, because like you said, there was people from, you all parts of the world.
I suppose that's then started opening doors for you commercially, and
Yeah.
this is your job, innit, now? This is you're a full-time freestyler.
Yeah.
Obviously, you got your world records, what you do, and
Yeah.
you know, graciously, what you're doing is a challenge Sahara there, but it's for the it's called the Dorian House appeal.
That's right. Yeah.
So
Dorian
obviously he's not just doing it because he wants to break a world record because he's got a massive ego. He's actually doing it to give back to society, and I really respect that. So to tell the subscribers and the listeners something about that charity.
Yeah, Dorian House. It's actually a children's hospice.
Okay.
Because I do a lot of stuff with young people. There's a lot of children out there that aren't as lucky as most of us with their health. So I was actually introduced to them last year for a friend. I went to visit. I did some freestyle for the children, and it lighted up their faces, and I was like, wow, like this is amazing. I wonder what I can do on a bigger scale than just be in front of this small amount of children. What can I do in terms of raising money? And I had the idea of Sahara in the back of my mind. Like, I've always got challenges that I want to do, and I try and do something like this that's really going to push me every year. And then it just so happened that they were up for supporting me, and we went for it. And it's going to be a hard challenge, but like you say, when you're doing it for something that's a bit bigger than yourself, it feels better. It feels like you're doing something worthwhile.
I mean, this is a real challenge, and I don't even think I could walk it. So for you to be able to do the Keep Up Challenge, but for anybody who wants to support it, obviously they could maybe go to the Dorian website.
Yeah.
And you're selling these T-shirts as well, aren't you?
That's right. Yeah. I mean, the first way, we've got a Just Giving page, which is /Challenge Sahara.
Get on it, guys. Give them support, okay?
.com/Challenge Sahara. But yeah, we also have the Sahara T-shirt. So best way to get the link really is probably through my social media channels, mostly my Instagram. That's what I use quite a lot for our fundraising. So just head on there.
John Farnworth.
There's a dot in there, the username. But if you put my name, John, spelled John, Farnworth, you should be able to find me. And if you're struggling with the links, they can message me. Like I'll send them. Good.
So the Sahara is, it's going to be a massive challenge. Big sand dunes. You've been doing a lot of training, but what do you think the biggest challenges will be for you there? Is it going to be the heat? Is it going to be the dehydration? Is it going to just like walking in a straight line? What about when the sun's beaming on you and that you're doing headers? How are you going to? Loads of people, including myself, thinking, how is it even possible?
Yeah, I think I always break a challenge down into different facets.
Okay.
Because that's how I can see the big picture. So, yeah, like a big thing is obviously the sand. So I've just been putting the miles in on the sand. The one thing that I've struggled to get used to, because I've not been in that situation, is the heat, and that's my worry. We're very lucky that we've got we've got Under Armour sponsoring us, giving us the kit.
Nice.
So we've got really breathable layers, which is important. I'm gonna have like a headdress on to obviously stop the sun. Sunglasses.
Also, you don't want sand on you potentially.
Yeah, the big thing with the sand was I've actually had my own shoes built for this. So I've got a desert running shoe, and then around it I've had Velcro attached and glued by a shoemaker with what's called a sand gaiter. So a sand gaiter goes on top of your shoes and kind of attaches to the top of your ankle to stop sand getting in and sand getting down, and that's stop the sand getting in, because you get blisters, it's game over, and that is the worry really, getting the blisters. So
well, that's an interesting point you're saying then. The lads, when they go back to the pre-season, it's not lads sometimes picking up hamstrings or being too fatigued. It's actually a blister can put the lads out for 3, 4, 5 days, and it's like that's lost time. So for yourself on a challenge which is only going to last 10, 12 days, if you've got a blister really does, that'd be game over, eh?
It really would, and that was my worry. And getting the right footwear as well for that, because you know what it's like, if you get the wrong footwear, that can cause blisters, and it can just cause like aches under your foot. Like a few years ago, I did the London Marathon while doing freestyle.
Did you?
Yeah.
How long did that take?
12 hours. I was probably in lesser shape then. I was sort of, I think I've become a bit more in my time of learning. You get a bit more smart to it, don't you? But I actually wore football shoes to do that, which was like, my feet were killing me. But if I'd have done it in running trainers, I'd have been a lot better off, because the cushioning. So I learned a lot from that. So when I was preparing for Everest, I was like, I need to wear the proper shoes, and get used to it, because I'm not that great at freestyling running shoes. I mean, I can do the bare bones of it, but I am literally juggling a ball, so I can forget about the tricks.
So obviously that's what I was going to ask. When you're doing the London Marathon, when you're doing the actual Everest and the Sahara, you're not really thinking about the tricks, you're thinking about getting the job done. So just give us an example of maybe it's hard in this environment, but you can see the space we've got here. What's the tempo you will be walking at? Is it a clear? I imagine it's more like this type of speed.
Yeah,
is that pretty much like it?
It's a good example. Yeah.
Give us
literally, I mean, hopefully I can go as fast as possible. I mean, I'm used to doing this now.
Right, yeah.
And sometimes, like when I was doing like the Everest challenge, I'd like go on my head and sort of, you know, like maybe have a look where I am because I had to dodge the terrain at times. But yeah, like literally kind of looking through the ball and travelling forward, and obviously kicking left.
You
to
almost
right,
got in a bit of a run there, didn't you?
Yeah.
Almost it's like a bouncy run type of thing.
Yeah, well, funnily enough, because we are going for a world record attempt, and the record attempt, we've been looking at various records that we can do.
Yeah.
There was obviously the 100 kilometres, 50 kilometres, but I'm actually going to attempt to go the furthest distance within an hour.
Okay.
So for that hour, I'm going to have to go really fast because I've got to cover at least 5.5 kilometres to get the record, which is actually a little bit more than I'd be used to when I'm training. But I have been training with weights on. So I've had like a weight vest, I've had actually extra kettlebells in my bag and water, so I've probably been carrying around 27, 28 kilograms. So I've wanted to make it as hard as possible and get that momentum with my travelling.
So regarding that then, and thinking about fatigue levels, at what point are you going to go for that record? Right at the start?
Possibly. I mean, it's one of them because I know the first day will be the toughest in terms of my mind, because I know how I am and I know how eager I am to get on with it. So I'm going to have to relax a bit on the first day, get used to the terrain, get used to the heat. And also, like, the team around me, we're going to have to get a real good workflow because of, you know, passing me water, passing me bits of energy drinks, bits of nutrition that I'm going to need to take on board. So that's going to be, you know, the first day is a lot of it. Just do what we can, get as far as we can, but also get a workflow, get a system going, and then we can start to attempt the record.
So a couple of technicalities I'm interested in, I'm sure the listeners are. So what happens if you do actually drop it?
Well, technically it wouldn't be a record because
so I was thinking you might drop it and then maybe you start back from where you start from.
Yeah, no, I mean it would be, I could start up again, but unfortunately if I was doing it well, I mean my whole aim for this is to not drop the ball. I think I can do it.
That is incredible. So
that's why
I thought like if you dropped it and it bounced away, if you get it, it's like where was that, and then just re-go again. It's the entire time you cannot drop it.
That's what I'm gonna. That's my aim. That's the whole challenge.
So obviously you're more than capable because you did it going up Everest. But what about therefore? You know, you're stopping for drinks. Do you have like design times when you can stop?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I'm gonna look. For me, the more I can keep going, the better. So whenever if I'm stopping and starting, you know what it's like, you lose your flow. So for me, I'll get in the zone and I'll go for it. I'll have a lunch break and then I'll go again in the evening. So I'll literally be moving to my next meal and my next rest. So obviously we've got a sleep period of rest. We've got a tough morning, really break the back of the day. Have a lunch break when it's really hot. Go again in the afternoon, and then obviously when the sun comes down, we have to pitch our tents up and sleep.
I was going to say that. I think if it was me going across the Sahara Desert, I'll be stopping at like the different Hiltons.
Yeah, I wish there was Hiltons.
But for yourself, there's nothing, is there?
No, there's nothing. There's not even a phone signal. We've got a sat phone to ensure that we're safe. You know, I mean, we've got a good team and we have access to security. You know, if something goes wrong or if one of the team's not feeling well, if I'm not feeling well, we've got that facility to call like a jeep. You know, but we're traveling with camels. We're traveling with all our stuff. Yeah, like it's going to be full on.
It's some undertaking, eh?
Yeah,
massive undertaking.
It is. I mean, when you start thinking about it, you know, that's why preparing now. I've done a lot of my training, but now my mind's on so many different facets. Like I'm thinking about the right cameras, and it's all in hand, of course. You know, even our charging situation, like we've got solar panel chargers, we've got the sat phone, so we can hopefully do social media updates. But it's going to be hard we can't post pictures back because we haven't got the bandwidth.
Okay.
So hopefully I'll be able to do Twitter updates, but you know, Instagram, I'd like to use my pictures and paint the picture, but it's going to be hard, so we're going to have to be patient.
Well, it's certainly going to be a massive challenge for them. We wish you all the very best with that.
Thank you.
Brilliant stuff. But moving back to when you get back and the other challenges you're going to do, obviously one of the things we've discussed is we were going to do a bit of training together, aren't we?
Yeah,
you've got a couple of projects in the future you want to do, which, I mean, one of them is extremely exciting but also extremely dangerous. You kept talking about the car jump.
Yeah.
So just explain to the viewers what you want to do, really.
Yeah, I mean, I try and look at all different areas, and I think, you know, of course there's an element of danger, but I try and do everything as safe as possible, and that comes from the training, doesn't it? And like, so I had this idea of jumping over a car or go-kart while controlling the ball.
Wow.
So yeah, I think, you know, looking at various stunts and just trying to push what I do into different areas that no one's probably even thought of.
So you're now the freestyler and a stuntman.
Maybe one day, you know, if I get there. I think I've got a lot of learning to do. I've got a lot of things that I want to do as well, you know, and that's what excites me. You know, what's new, what's around the corner.
Yeah, well, it's going to be an exciting journey what he's doing, but also keep a track of the rest of his career to see where he goes. So it's exciting stuff. Well, just talking about the development of freestyle now, you know, I see some freestyle stuff on TV and even on LinkedIn and social media, and it's changed quite a bit now. There's a lot more athleticism, isn't there?
Yes.
There's pairs doing things together.
Yeah.
You know, is there any sort of last section tricks you want to show us, which are almost like your marquee tricks at the moment?
I can try and do more.
So explain what they're going to be first, because could you give us your names?
I guess they should do. I mean, you've got, my thing is always my control, so you've got, like, you know, using my heels is quite hard.
Yeah.
I mean, these are quite old school, I guess, like using my shins, but, you know, I try and use every body part. And also tricks like, when you're doing these types of things, it can be quite tiring, like you say. There's a bit of athleticism. There's like the fine touches, maybe nice. On the end of the toe, and then, as we were saying, like transitions, and then.
Well, this one will be no good in the Sahara Desert, right?
No, not moving anywhere. Might need to do this at night, you know.
Yeah.
To rest.
To rest.
Yeah.
But still, this for the brain. Wow.
Show you a trick out. It's quite hard actually, like this one. Go over and then back, because you can't see the ball. So I always try and mess around. So there's this one, where you go, like that. Well, this is a bit harder. I can't always do this one, but there you go. Good. Nearly broke your set then.
No problem. Well, that just proves again, you know, you're trying new tricks. You're resting on your laurels, and you're developing, aren't you?
I think I would find it boring if I wasn't trying something new, because if I'm training, like, I don't like to do what I can already do, because I do that a lot if I'm performing.
Yeah.
You kind of go into a mode. It's like a dangerous place to be, because you kind of stop. So I think you just got to, like, keep trying new things, and that's like just thinking up new things, trying to be creative and just having fun, you know.
I mean, that's what it's all about. So you guys out there, I know I'm old. I play Masters football, and looking back, you know, very few professional football players have these abilities, and to see what you can do is amazing. It's almost inspiring, because it just, you know, you can learn new tricks even if you're a Masters player. You know, if you're young players, you know, 5, 6, 7, 8, use John as an inspiration. So John, just before we finish, do you actually have any clinics? Is there anywhere where the people can come and maybe be in the John Farnworth sort of masterclass clinics?
I do. I do a lot of stuff with, like, football clubs and mostly shows at the moment, which is, I think, where my strength lies, because I sort of I enjoy doing that and putting across what I do. I'm doing a camp actually in the summer near Preston, which is actually near where I live. So we've got people from all over the world. Maybe we could send you the link to that and maybe put in there. But yeah, we're about to announce it, so this is probably the first time we're talking about it. So it's going to be like a really intensive course, you know, for learning ball control, learning freestyle, but also, you know, how to approach your training, how to approach even things like social media, because the world's forever changing, isn't it? And there's a lot of opportunities if you're willing to learn and absorb. Well,
on that one point, I don't know whether you know, but I'm actually the Curzon Ashton Health and Wellbeing Ambassador. And I would certainly like to invite you down to Curzon Ashton. They have, you know, 20,000 people there playing football within their society, and it's something which I think you'll add a lot of value to us. So I hope to see you there in the summer. We'll get you down to do a few tricks.
There you go, get down, that'd be awesome.
We'll get a few boys out, even from the Curzon Ashton first team, to have a little go, and that'd be great. But listen, John, it's been an absolute pleasure. I'm really pleased that you come on the show, and all the best.
Yes, thank you so much. Cheers.
Welcome to Win the Moment. So this is the segment of the show where one lucky subscriber will get to win my Champions League shirts. Each week when I have my different people I interview, my different guests, they're going to sign it and it's going to get collected. At the end of the series, one of you lucky winners will get to take this home with you as a memento. So, Hans, you signed it, thank you very much. John, you signed it, thank you very much.
Thanks, Mike. No,
and good luck. Please like the site, tell your friends, subscribe, and one of you will win the shirt.